Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And today we have 2 new episodes of season 3 of Pretty Little Liars. And then next time we'll only have 1 because it'll be the finale.
Yeah, so this will be your, and enjoy our pre-Christmas gift to you. And then, after, we'll give you one more present of the season finale.
Well, and then we'll keep going. We're going to do season 4.
Yeah, and then just keep going. But,
in 2022.
3.
No, I'm saying like these are your last ones of 2022.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Honey, your dog is trying to eat your medical records.
Well, someone should. Spencer is, like we said, just doing great, living her best life. Everybody understands where she's going through, and she's not second guessing herself at all. So it's going great.
She's never been better.
No, never been better.
And honestly, same.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? We could all do maybe a little stint to Radley.
Oh, yeah, Radley's a vibe. Get away from things. But honestly,
have you ever wanted to be hit on by your doctor?
Well, she can do
as
that
a child.
She can do that outside of Radley.
Fair enough.
Fucking Lamb's in there pulling for her, like being like this Ren guy's bad news. But for different reasons. Okay.
Your dog has circled you.
Yeah, he's now under the desk, isn't he?
Yep.
Yep. Well, there you go. He wants to hear a little better about the podcast.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I think he's looking for snacks.
Well, maybe he'll find them under there. Maybe he won't. Should we just jump right into it then?
Yes.
Episode 69. Hey, we finally got there. Season 3, episode 22. Will the circle be unbroken?
Wow.
Yeah. Nice. Mona applies makeup in a small vanity mirror, but then turns it to gaze at Hannah and Aria. Emily then approaches the other two and talks with them on Spencer being missing, and they plan on going to her house after school if she doesn't show up. They walk across the courtyard to see Melissa with the principal. Melissa asks if they've seen Spencer, and the principal wonders if Spencer shared any plans since she's been avoiding school lately, and they're like, yeah, we know that, but we don't know. We haven't heard anything from her. Melissa then goes to the principal's office to use the phone to call the police. And the whole time we've seen that Mona has been watching them. Spencer is in her room at Radley as a nurse comes in to change her bandages. She's officially a Jane Doe as she hasn't given her name. The nurse who comes in, who we learn later is Eddie Lamb, says that she doesn't say. She asks what a 302 is, and the nurse says it's for a psych evaluation, and then tells her that she is in fact in Radley. Lamb says it's better than being in county, and we'll have a doctor coming to evaluate you. Spencer asks what's wrong with her, and he's like, you're supposed to have amnesia. He leaves, as Spencer continues playing with a deck of cards, and she's quietly satisfied that she is in Radley. School gets out and 3 friends discuss finding Spencer. Emily advises they all go to the... 3 friends? The 3 friends.
But it just sounded like you said, and 3 friends discuss.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, who?
What kind of group are you looking for? Emily advises they all go to look in places the police won't because they know Spencer better. Spencer plays with the cards and then finds a Joker card and looks at it. I thought this meant that she's going to go Joker mode. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Ashley's...
Or is it?
No. Because, I guess secret Joker mode? It's not Joker, though. She's not gleefully chaotic. She's very sad. Joker's not sad. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay. Whatever makes you happy, Brenton. Ashley's
I know very little about the Joker. It's like,
But Joker mode is, in fact, acting like the Joker. Where you just everything's terrible and we're just gonna laugh through it. Isn't life chaotic, and you just act completely erratic, essentially.
Isn't that what she's doing?
No, but she's sad about it. You know what I mean? She's like in her feelings and like crying. The Joker, you don't cry in Joker mode.
Okay.
This is after all the tears, and you're just like, I'm gonna.
So this is her after your no tears left to cry era.
Yes.
During your no tears left to cry era.
That's right.
Okay.
Except you're not picking it up. You're breaking it down. Ashley's looking in the paper for a sign of Wilden's disappearance, and
I thought you said licking the paper. And I was so confused.
No.
I'm having a hard time listening to that, I think.
It's all right. We'll keep going, and you just keep stopping me.
You just keep going.
And wonders aloud to Hannah where he is and what he wants. Ted calls, and she tries to avoid his call. Hannah instead picks up the call and says, yes, she would love to meet you for coffee later. Hannah tells her mom after the call that nothing is wrong, and they have to act like they believe in it. So now snap out of it, Ashley. Aria texts the friends that she didn't find Spencer at the bookstore. She's at Fitz's place and watches him work at his desk and asks if he needs help and asks how his job's going. He's been tutoring, and the ghostwriting freelancing hasn't been going great, and says he's been thinking about teaching again. Aria tells him he needs to give himself a break. We see the activity room at Radley as Spencer quietly plays the piano. We see the back of someone enter and say, like, hello to Spencer. She turns around and we see it's Dr. Sullivan.
Wait, so do you think he's not getting any, like, residual or, like, pay from his published book of poems?
Who?
Ezra.
Oh.
Do you remember he had a published book of poems?
Oh, I forgot about that. I guess it didn't sell very well.
He is not collecting that KDP money.
No.
He is not selling good.
No, people, well, you know, it maybe made a modest amount, and that's about it.
I just remembered that. I was like, isn't he also like a real, like a
published author?
Real, in air quotes. He's a published author.
Yeah, but I guess.
Or was it just like a book of poetry that he was included in?
I think that was more it.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to think when he did the poetry reading way back, that was just like at a bar.
Yeah.
And it was like open mic.
Oh.
Yeah. Ashley and Hannah.
And his friend that we never see again.
Oh, right. It was just like, bro, you got to cut this out.
Don't date children.
And then Fitz is like, what if I double down?
Goodbye, friend.
Exactly. You're out. Ashley and Hannah meet Ted outside the church. Ted says, Jamie's been working out great. Thank you for like hooking us up with him. Wilden then walks up and says hello. He tells Ted that he was like out fishing and sorry that he missed the bell tower being disassembled. He then leaves them sitting there as the camera zooms in on the church notice board with the quote, commit a crime and the world is made of glass. Quoted, this is from Ralph Waldo Emerson.
You know how churches love to put quotes from authors and
right instead of the Bible.
Not God.
Very progressive sort of church. Dr. Sullivan asked why Spencer didn't tell them who she was. Spencer says, I know what would happen if I did. Dr. Sullivan asked what happened in the woods. Spencer says, Toby is dead. Dr. Sullivan asked why she didn't tell anyone, including the police. Spencer says it wouldn't bring him back, and I'm the reason he's dead. Dr. Sullivan tells her she's going to call her family and then call the police about this. Aria goes to talk to Byron about Fitz. Byron says, Ella told me about Fitz and his son, and like, how are you doing? Aria says, like, okay, but like, not really okay. She's like, I have another reason to talk to you, though. He needs a job. Byron's like, I don't know. I don't like him. Aria asks if he doesn't know or if he's not willing to like actually like help Fitz out. They then get interrupted.
He did get him fired.
Yes, like went to great lengths to get this man fired. They get interrupted by Aria getting a text from Emily saying Spencer's okay. Melissa tells Spencer at Radley that their mom and dad can't get in because planes are all grounded. But in the meantime, and they're flying back from London. But in the meantime, she'll try and get Spencer out. Spencer's like, don't bother. I'll be out in 72 hours anyway. Melissa asks what happened. And Spencer says, how far back do you want to go? Melissa says, all this time I thought you were being cruel, but I never thought you were unwell.
The best Melissa quote of the series.
It really is. It's so out of pocket.
I thought you were just a bitch.
I know. I never thought that people would be mean for a reason.
I'm just cunty for fun.
Exactly. It's just my personality. Spencer says big relief for both of us. Emily catches Hannah and Aria up on Spencer.
Spencer has the best lines in this episode.
Really does. I mean, you know, other than Melissa's one there. But Emily doesn't know why Spencer was alone in the woods. They can't go see her yet because only family can visit her. But they don't like Melissa being the only one being able to see her. Hannah gets a text from A with a picture of Wilden and Ashley. It's like the dashboard camera footage. Spencer gets drugs from the nurse, Lamb. This is just going to my notes. I was referring to as nurse before we get his name. Eddie says they're antibiotics and won't knock her out because they need her to do a psych eval. Spencer notices his tag is E. Lamb and asks if it's his name. And he's like, yep, definitely. That's my name, Eddie Lamb. He says, get some sleep and closes the door. Hannah talks to Ashley about Spencer, and Ashley cancels plans to go to a seminar in New York and says it's not a good time for a promotion. We'd have to move to New York. This is what they call it, very effective writing. You got to establish a whole scenario in a sentence. Have your character say it to the camera. Hannah says we'd get away from Wilden and pushes her to go and says, I will stay at Emily's while you're gone. Emily visits Dr. Sullivan outside her office. Dr. Sullivan wants to talk to her about her session and the hypnotherapy, but Emily pushes to talk about Spencer instead and asks why she was out there. Dr. Sullivan says Spencer saw a body, but police can't find anything, and they're trying to contact Toby's family and asks if she knows where Toby is, and Emily says no. Eller and Byron are meeting at school. Eller discussing.
I was trying really hard to laugh.
And are discussing Fitz. Byron asks what we should do about him, and then Aria wants me to get him a job. Byron says he could talk to the dean, but if we help him stabilize this new family, he might end things with Aria. And Ella's like, yes, he might, wouldn't he? Spencer argues with Dr. Sullivan about Toby's body. She says she didn't see the face, but it was definitely him. Dr. Sullivan says you took a lot into that forest with you. And Spencer asks, I just want to see my friends. Dr. Sullivan says after the psych eval, if you're released, but I could send a message to them. Spencer says, tell them I miss them. And Dr. Sullivan promises to be back in the evening. Emily goes into the brew and sees Shauna. Shauna says, you made it, and says, I wanted you to meet someone, and introduces Misty Franklin, famous Olympic swimmer. Emily is taken aback, and Shauna says, I met her at an airport in Chicago. Our fun little guest spot for the episode. Spencer asks if Eddie ever lost one of his badges. He says, not if you want. Or asks if people.
Missy Franklin?
Missy, not Misty.
Yeah, it's Missy. I was I'm pretty sure you were wrong, but then I didn't want to correct and be wrong. I was let me double check.
Double check. Appreciate it. So Missy.
Melissa Franklin Johnson.
Goes by Missy.
Missy Franklin.
Perfect. Spencer asks.
She's only 27 now.
Wow. Okay. So we are going back to 2013 here.
Mm-hmm. I think she was in the 2012 Olympics.
9 years there. Ooh. So yeah, so she was 18, 19?
Mm-hmm.
What? 18, yeah.
She was very young.
Yeah, that's wild. Spencer talks to Eddie Lamb and asks if he's ever lost one of his badges. He's like, not if you want to keep your job around here. Spencer asks more about the entry process for the staff, and he's like, you're asking a lot of questions that I'm supposed to report. He says there was trouble with the old badges and they had to change them. Spencer asks if they had trouble with people getting in or out, and he dodges the question. Aria and Hannah discuss trouble with Spencer and start with Spencer and Wilden as Hannah packs her bags. Apparently, Wilden's car was reported stolen, and Aria asks if the GPS would still work, and Hannah's like, no, it is underwater. Things don't work underwater. Aria asks if she'll go to New York, and Hannah says, if it'll keep my mom safe, then I'll make the sacrifice. Emily and Shauna take pictures with Missy, and then she leaves. Goodbye. Emily says she didn't know Shauna swam. Shauna's like, oh, Paige didn't mention it? I wonder why she didn't say anything. Send me those pictures. You have my email. Spencer tells Eddie that she thinks someone stole his ID, and he asks why anyone would need this. Spencer says visiting a patient, and Lamb asks who the patient was and who the person was that stole his badge. Spencer says Mona and his name was Toby. Lamb says they also had a problem with visitor badges, but won't tell Spencer about it because he doesn't want to lose his job. He tells Spencer that Mona was in her, this exact room that Spencer's staying in. Spencer then looks at the desk in the room and finds etched into the desk, will the circle be unbroken? Jen has a flashback. She's in church with Allison, and Mona is there, and Mona is really into singing the hymn passionately, and Allie is across the aisle quietly laughing at her. After the mass, Allie and Spencer leave, and Allie asks why Mona was even there. Spencer sees Mona leave the church, and Spencer asks looks at Allison and sees that she's writing. And Allison says, "Oh, this is my diary. You can't read it until after I'm dead." And Spencer's like, "Fine, I don't want to read it anyway. Don't be morbid." Allison says, you do want to read these. I'm writing them for you. They're scandalous, and you'll need them after I'm gone. Fitz meets with Byron at his apartment. Fitz says, "I didn't ask Aria to ask for help, and that there's things about this situation that I can't explain to her yet." Byron says, "I went to the dean, and there wasn't room in the department, but I still want to help you if I can." Fitz asks why, and Byron says he spends a lot of time now trying to make amends, and then asks about Fitz's son. Spencer plays the piano as Lamb comes to talk to her. He says he knew one Toby in his life, and he met that Toby's mother. He knew that Toby because his mother was a patient here. They confirm that their last names match, and we see two people in suits enter the room, and Lamb goes to talk to him. The other three friends discuss whether Spencer will be released. Aria says, "What if A finally broke her?" Aria says, "I knew it'd be her. She's too smart."
Hannah, right?
Yeah, sorry. Hannah says that. Aria says, "You were never the weak link Emily, Spencer was." Mona enters the school bathroom and asks where Spencer is. Aria says, "You know where she is. She's in Radley." Mona is surprised, though. Emily says it's all your fault. Mona says, "Hey, listen," but Aria butts in saying, "You listen. If she doesn't get out of there, you're going to wish you broke your neck falling down that cliff." They're interrupted by Aria getting called to the office.
Remember that line for later. Trust me. You're going to want to keep that little piece of information with you.
Just hold on there?
Yeah, hold on there.
Yeah.
Remember that. Remember who said that to Mona and what they said.
You say it's going to be Aria gets put on a cliff.
Snaps her neck.
Aria talks to the principal, and he says it's an informal conversation here. I saw that Ezra Fitz applied to be a substitute teacher, and that'd mean he'd be back around school. And I understand that you saw him socially, quote unquote, after you left. He asked if she's still seeing him.
I like how everyone's
socially.
like, you were fucking your teacher.
But it was after he left, of course. And Aria's like, "Not anymore. It was a quick thing, but it ended." And the principal is happy that things seem to have worked out. Spencer sits in the activity room and then turns around to see that Mona's there. Ashley talks to Ted about her seminar and apologizes for canceling plans and talks about her promotion potentially moving her to New York. Ted asks if she would go, and she says, "I would have to leave very quickly." Ted's like, "I like seeing you here. And if there's some reason for taking the promotion, would you tell me?" And she says, "There's nothing you have to worry about." "Ted, can't you just pastor in another church?" Mona offers Spencer cookies, and Spencer turns them down. Spencer asks why she killed Toby, and Mona says, "If it were true, why would I want to talk to you?" She says, "Look at all that happened when you turned down my offer on the mountain, but I believe in second chances, and I'm generous." Spencer says, "You wouldn't be here if you didn't need something." And Mona says, "Allison was never pregnant. It was a false alarm. And she told me all this. Remember, I have her diaries." She then pulls up her tablet and starts scrolling through pictures of pages of diaries. She's like, "I have the answers, Spencer, and to questions you haven't even thought of." Spencer wants her to leave her alone. Mona says, "You're trying to put together a puzzle you've never seen, so that's why you need me." Spencer says, "Get away before I choke you again. They already think I'm crazy." So it doesn't matter. Mona says, "You're not crazy. You're as sane as I am." Ashley leaves for the seminar. This is like, you know what? We're not so different, you and I. Ashley leaves for the seminar and leaves Hannah and Emily's. As Ashley leaves, they see Wilden drive up. He gets out of his car, and Hannah goes to talk to him despite Emily warning her not to. She asks if he's following them. He says, "I'm not following you." He says, "While I was away, I did some thinking about like the situation between your mother, me, and you. And if I'm completely, and we haven't been completely honest about things, just tell me where you left the car and you'll get no trouble from me." Spencer speaks to the group at Radley about the woods. Dr. Sullivan leads the group. And Spencer says she had hit her limit in the woods, but kept going and asked what is there to do to like keep going when the worst has happened? Spencer looks around the group and says, "Sorry, you don't know me. So like, you wouldn't understand. You don't have to like pity me," essentially. She then sees her three friends standing in place of Dr. Sullivan and two patients there staring at her. And she's like, "You don't know me anymore and you can't count on me." She then blinks and they're back to being Dr. Sullivan and the patients. In the new A Lair, a hooded figure shuts a laptop that had a carnival-themed poster on it. We then see that the A Lair is an RV driving around Rosewood. We only see the inside though, so we don't get to see the outside.
I
The
have
end.
been waiting for you to get to see the mobile A Lair. Like I was like, don't worry, honey. They always find a new location.
It's so good. This one just happens to be moving.
Okay.
Why get tied down with like motels and like apartments when you can just like take to the road?
Well, yeah, and I mean, who doesn't love camping?
Hashtag van life
Oh my gosh.
with a capital A.
A was van lifing before it was cool on TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely.
A started the van life trend.
Mm-hmm.
Cool girl shit.
Exactly. So Mona, Toby, they're pioneers.
Do you think they make s'mores together? Do you think they all sit around the fire and make s'mores?
Yeah, I hope so.
Me too.
Take care of yourselves, you.
Yeah. Toby reads to them from The Catcher in the Rye.
So moody, you know.
It's the only book I've ever seen him with, I think.
There's been not as consistent.
Uh-huh.
There was that entire first season where he's just like, yeah, Catcher in the Rye. It's kind of like me.
Like, how slow are you reading this book, buddy boy?
But he's had other books.
Okay. He reads.
Yeah.
He knows how.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at Scrabble.
That's right.
Okay. Spencer's having a great time pretending to be an amnesia patient.
Yeah.
Why would Dr. Sullivan ruin that for her?
This is what's best for you. Spencer doesn't want to go home. But Dr. Sullivan's like, I don't
get Dr. Sullivan.
Everybody's trying to push Spencer to get out of there.
But maybe she needs to be there.
Right. Maybe there are some... Maybe you need to listen to the person that doesn't want to leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you think, like, going home to her sister alone in that house is going to be great? Or, like, the non-attentive parents, even when they're back in the country, are barely around?
Uh-huh.
And, like, the danger Spencer's been in?
Uh-huh. Yeah, like it would make sense that she would snap even based on just what we know about. And why would they let Mona in to visit her?
Yeah, that's
like the most negligent like shit I've ever witnessed. Like the whole letting Mona out is one thing, and like the letting Mona join her. No, she snapped. Mona joined and took her spot on a academic decathlon team.
Mm-hmm.
Mona is intentionally fucking with her, and the adults are just pretending as if Mona is healed.
It's just
except
totally
for
fine.
Dr. Sullivan is suspicious. So why is she not intervening?
Uh-huh.
What is wrong with Dr. Sullivan?
Yeah. Dr. Sullivan seems to have taken a more
she's taking a passive approach to life.
Yes, she takes a passive approach to the rest of this episode after being like, all right, like, why are you here? And instead being like, okay, I'll see you later this evening, join the group. But like also when the patient that used to be there is coming back to harass the new patient.
Yeah, I don't think she should be allowed in the day room right now.
No, But I guess like Mona could just harass her anyway through one of the secret passages.
So, okay, let's continue on our Spencer Radley, because I think this is the meat of the episode, and then we'll come back to my other
episodes,
things.
Really.
Is Eddie Lamb trustworthy?
Yes.
Okay.
I find Eddie very trustworty.
I love Eddie.
Exactly. And I think
I couldn't tell you where his plotline goes. I don't fucking remember.
No, he's a great guy. And it seems like Ren set him up. That'll be in the next episode. But which is a fun wrinkle. I'm very happy about this. But Eddie seems like a very good ally, and he's just like very kind and is there to like take care of him. And he's even kind of like, well, you're supposed to have amnesia. Like
Mm-hmm.
like kind of playful with her a little bit, but like not like pushing her. He's just yeah. Eddie exudes positive vibes.
He does.
But it seems like he may have gotten himself mixed up a little bit too much trying to help people.
I see. That's what like I'm so curious as to like where I can't remember at all that plot line. Like, is it like he gets too involved, or is he trying to prevent Ren from shit?
Right.
Ren is showing his shady shit. We'll talk about that more in the next episode. But like, what is Eddie's purpose?
Right. Roll with that. And I guess it's only from Ren that we hear that Eddie used to play that game with
Mona.
Okay. All right.
Is Ren a reliable narrator?
Well,
is Ren reliable?
Stay tuned for
He's British.
Yeah.
The poor British people of the world. There's probably none that listen to this podcast, but if you do, I'm so sorry.
We're painting with a broad brush. Actually, probably being being British. They're like, yeah, fair enough.
No, but our horrible British accents when we try. I was apologizing for our truly failed attempts at not being Californian.
Not our opinions on British people.
No. I mean, it's red. Okay. Also, Toby's mom was at Radley. Discuss.
Yes. Big time reveal. Everybody's been around Radley. I don't know. I'm thinking that the Toby's mother being there connection is more that Toby understood the workings of Radley rather than being it's going to be like a tragic backstory for Toby of like understanding these things, of course. But it's not necessarily Toby's mom is like connected to A in a sense. It's like he understands Radley more. That's how I took is where that's going to go.
Poor sweet ignorant boy.
I don't know where it's going.
You couldn't.
Fair.
Sometimes, like, when we're watching this show, I'm like, oh, yeah.
You're like, that's where that gets
I forgot about that. Oh, we didn't already know his mom had been... Oh, I guess we didn't know she'd been in Radley. Oh, yeah. Huh.
That's part of... I think the majority of our listeners are probably in the same boat as you, where these things, this knowledge comes crashing back like a wave. I don't know how many people, actually, I'd be curious, are actually watching this for the first time, like I am. I feel like majority of people are like
experience the fever dream in real time.
Exactly, and are coming back to this like how you and Heather have always like talked about it, like, oh, like Pretty Little Liars, and then like coming back to it now and like hearing about things and going like, oh my God, that? And then I'm sitting here just like, what? I don't know what you mean.
Heather...
And then we stumble upon certain things like the mobile RV, A Lair, or what was the we had another one, another big moment like last week that I can't remember.
The shower scene?
Yeah, maybe the shower. There was something else.
Like, so Heather, when I was talking to her earlier, was like, I forgot about her Spencer being locked in the sauna. Right,
yeah. Like, I could see you forgetting that, like those small things. Oh, it was hitting Wilden.
Oh, yeah, the hitting Wilden with the car is A+. I've been waiting for that for a while now.
So I feel like there's a lot of people that are
Hannah got hit by Mona. I was like...
You're like, damn, there's a better one. It's a very funny thing to say. Oh, there's a better hit and run.
What if I told you another married woman was involved with a car crash, but this time she hit the accelerator?
Oh my God. But, you know, we were watching Wednesday last night, and you can't help but that hit and run just doesn't have the same impact.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are some A-esque vibes of whoever's the bad guy on Wednesday.
Right. But that's when you turned to me watching it last night. It's like, oh my God, Ace in Wednesday.
Someone's wearing a black hoodie.
They are.
Okay, speaking of black hoodies, Mona and her why didn't you join my MLM boss babe visit?
I know. You had the chance to get on the ground floor, but like... I guess now see what's happening.
Yeah, you could have sold the limited edition print leggings, and now look at you with your boring ass leggings.
Yeah, now I like that. The Mona Spencer rivalry is fun because now that we know that Mona is uber capable and smart, it's like my like other like rival. It's the Sherlock Holmes and oh no, I lost it. Moriarty. Kind of like. Rivalry like sort of thing going on, which is fantastic. And I've said from the beginning, Spencer should have said yes. I'm with Mona on this. Yeah, you should have joined. But also I like that Spencer keys in. It's like, you wouldn't be here if you didn't need something, so you need something from me. Like this isn't Mona doesn't come to taunt. She comes to get what she wants. Yeah, but she's also not being generous in trying to like get Spencer back in. It's like, oh, I need you involved because of some reasons we don't know. Maybe related to Melissa. She would have access to Melissa. And so that's why I think my theory on the A team guiding them to go after the NAT club is really coming to the fold here, because here we get Mona showing off evidence, essentially. It's just like, I will give this to you. Speaking of those diaries, while also being like extremely mean and petty. What do we think Allison was saying in that flashback? Like, what was she trying to tell Spencer? Oh, in her diaries?
Like she was like, oh, you'll read them when I'm dead. You're gonna need them.
Mm-hmm.
Was that just her like being like trying
taunting?
trying to be important, or was that some sort of like she knew what was going on foreshadowing, or
I think
is Spencer having false memories because she's in Radley?
I think I don't take too much stock in it because I think when we get I think the function of it in the script is to get people being like, oh, she knew she was going to die. And like, what are in those diaries? We got to understand. And it's a little too like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, oh, she's like this doomed woman knew like she was going to die and stuff like that. And so like trying to get you to think of the mystery and freak out of like what would be in those diaries, even though the context of her just having diaries in general is like interesting. Like in Laura Palmer's diaries, the existence of those, you want to find out what is like in it, and then like the pages that Harold has, or Harold has the diary. So it's maybe a little cutesy for me of her being like, you'll need these after my die. I've left you all the clues. But obviously, there's gonna be, no matter what it is, Allison had diaries. There's gonna be something in it. We have introduced the diaries. They're gonna go off in the third act.
Is Spencer in that scene where she's doing group therapy and she sees her friends as Dr. Sullivan and them? Is this a sign that Spencer is being given drugs at Radley? Is she having a mental break, or is she just processing trauma?
She's processing trauma, and we're television, being a visual medium as it is it's trying to convey that Spencer. This is why like she couldn't be Joker mode, because she's like, oh, my friends don't know me anymore. Like she's like processing feelings of like, oh, like not even you guys like could really like not even like, understand where I'm coming from anymore. You can't rely on me anymore.
Okay.
She's more Batman.
All right, that's fine.
If we must go on this.
I'm like, cool. Love this reference point. Anyway, I'm sure it's going to resonate with most of our audience really well.
People always talking about who's Robin.
For those of us that fell asleep in theaters
Melissa's Two-Face
during the Dark Knight movies because the theater was too dark. I did night. So
I saw The Dark Knight at like I think midnight.
Yeah, I did like a midnight premiere, and I worked after my shift at my ice cream shop thing, and I was maybe like 17, 18. I don't remember when they came out, and I fell asleep in between the people I worked with. It's
2.5 hour movies are not a good call at 12.
Well, and also like it's dark. The movie was so dark. There was not a lot of like.
They were not kidding with that title.
When you watch like it's almost like is it the fourth Harry Potter? Which one can you not see? Maybe it's the fifth or sixth one. There's one of them that literally is impossible to see.
Yeah, I think they start doing that tint in the fifth one.
I think it's the fourth one they get darker, and then the fifth, like the third one's darker, the fourth one's dark, and then the fifth and sixth one are like. Yeah. You can't watch them during the daytime. Yeah,
it's like the example. People will put lots of examples of this of like modern lighting of just like where you can't see shit. It's just like, what happened? Huh? What did you do? And which essentially is that they've undercut stage tradesmen in favor of VFX and are no longer taking care with their shots because everything can be done in post.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, back to Pretty Little Liars. Where the lighting is fine for the most part.
Yeah, no, lighting's fine.
Dr. Sullivan.
I don't think this affects as much on like
television.
At least not at this point.
Dr. Sullivan does what I like to call an info dump for Emily on Spencer and Toby, which breaks probably like multiple patient client, like doctor confidentiality codes. I kept watching this being like, I feel like this is actually, when people are like HIPAA, right. I'm like, this might actually be a HIPAA violation.
This might actually be crossing the line. She should not be like,
I don't know if she's technically a doctor. Like, I don't know how things work there. And also it's for television, so it doesn't matter. But I was like laughing because I was like,
You can't be doing that.
You're just releasing her medical information.
Right. Well, this is classic. Here, take a look at these documents, Emily. But that is 100% crossing a patient line there.
I did enjoy that. Let's talk about Wilden. He not dead.
No, it is very funny also that like him approaching there's no reason for him to be in that scene with Pastor Ted and them, because he literally just walks up and goes, "Hello, sorry I missed the bell. Goodbye."
He just wants to talk.
It leaves it right, yeah. But yeah, he's alive and
He's
also
showing Ashley that he's watching her.
Exactly. I have a theory about why he needs the car and why he's not saying anything and not trying to implicate them.
Okay. Theory corner.
Little teaser for the end of the episode.
Wilden goes, "Where's my car?" Hannah goes, "Go fishing."
Yeah, exactly. Go fish. It's at the bottom of the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, I thought you were fishing. I think you would have found it.
Right.
Pastor Ted also says, "Fuck your career, Ashley."
Yeah. Okay, like...
Ashley's a boss, babe.
I understand.
She commits crimes. She doesn't give a fuck. And she needs to make money to take care of her girl. And because they like to shop. And I respect this energy. What I don't understand is why Ted thinks it's appropriate to say, "I don't wish you luck," because it wouldn't feel honest. So you don't have her best interest at heart, Ted. You have your best interest at heart, which makes you a human, but also
Gonna offer you some grace.
as a man of the cloth, you are not exemplifying what I would think a higher power of the fluffy Christianity would want, which is for her to feel good and succeed. I mean, I don't know how supportive God would be of some of Ashley's choices, but a girl did what a girl had to do.
I was gonna say, Old Testament God would be like, "Yes, Ashley, my child."
Yes, that is true. Well, I mean, she's a woman.
Oh yeah,
Old Testament God
actually.
wouldn't support her at all.
Yeah, neither would New
But
Testament.
yeah, no, I know women. But if we were gonna pretend like God liked women, Emily's blasphemy corner.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's really good.
then I think that's, I was like, oh, I don't know. It just seems kind of fucked up, Ted.
No, I completely agree.
But she's already seen ghosts. Let the woman leave the town if she wants to leave the town. She had a ghost girl in her house. She's being haunted by a creepy cop. And her daughter may or may not have drowned a police car.
Right.
Didn't know you could drown a vehicle until now.
And yeah, first time for everything.
Yes, that was all. That was my rant about Pastor Ted.
We were in 100% agreement.
Okay, now let's talk about Aria. Aria's plot always revolves around Ezra, which is boring as fuck. But anyway, really she has great outfits in this episode. I was like, this is very of the time. We all had those like cardigans with the studded shoulders. Like that was a thing. I remember wanting a lot of those. They were very big at like H&M, Forever 21.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
just shout out for Aria's episode.
Yeah,
Aria's outfits.
Aria gets fun clothes. I would have dressed like Aria at this time. Byron and Ella are wanting to help Ezra because they are stupid. And they think somehow this will drive a wedge naturally between their daughter, who is in a Romeo and Juliet-esque relationship that has been romanticized, with her former teacher.
This is the classic trope of the parents think that if they like mess behind the back, that it'll totally work in their favor. But as we know, that doesn't work out.
No, it never works.
Also,
have they not both read enough literature to know this won't work? Because they're falling for very classic literature tropes, and they both teach English.
Right. What do you think Byron said to the dean? I know. I don't
think he talked to the dean at all.
Yeah, he probably didn't, but just imagine what that hypothetical conversation would be.
So he did fuck my daughter, but it's fine.
Right.
Like,
I've recanted.
Well, but what did he tell the dean the first time to get him fired?
Right.
Who's to say? So yeah, we've got Aria's parents just like hook, line, and sinker setting us in for a horrible time of being stuck with Ezra forever, because the more they try to separate, the tighter those two urchins hold on to each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did
just dead end.
Yes, I did love Aria yelling at Mona in the bathroom.
Yes, absolutely.
Aria yelling at anyone is my favorite.
It's really good.
She's like, Spencer's cracked. I'm pissed. And now I shall attack Mona.
They save it for very impactful moments because she's not always yelling at people.
No. She's not like Hannah, and she's not like Emily, who's just like a loose cannon of friendship.
Emily's just all over the place and is just angry now all the time, which we appreciate.
And Hannah's just like always been yelling. When she corners Jenna is like one of my favorite scenes.
Really good. That's a really good scene. Hannah is just always unfiltered. But Aria's like, I will fucking crush you.
She has the best lines in the bathroom, too. She's like, she had the bitch can see line in the bathroom. Like, they're like, Aria's in the bathroom. She's going to say a zinger.
Oh, that's true. Bathroom watch.
Bathroom, yeah. We'll have to continue to watch to see.
Oh, that's great. But also in that scene is like the perfect example of like, we know that Mona doesn't know that we can assume that Mona actually doesn't know what happened to Spencer after like in the woods. Mona was probably not around keeping an eye on her. So that Mona was probably like, oh, what? This is a surprise to me. And maybe would have given us more information if Aria hadn't been like, listen, I will break your neck.
Also, you're going to wish your neck snapped when you fell over that cliff. Did Dr. Sullivan or no one ask Mona about if she saw Spencer in the woods or Spencer, like, remember how did Spencer ever tell them that she saw Mona there?
I don't think so. I think she just said I saw Toby.
Okay. Because I was like, I feel like...
Because Mona was just running around the woods going like, Toby's dead.
He's dead, Spencer.
Right, exactly. And running off.
And, okay, so there's that. Mona is catnip for Spencer. Aria also has one of my favorite scenes, which is when she lies to the principal about seeing Ezra socially.
It's very funny.
Because I want to know...
The code word, too, of like socially. And after you left. Even though the principal was probably like, well, how'd they get to know each other?
Well, but also, does it matter if she's still seeing him or not?
So
should they not hire him regardless?
Yeah.
Because he's dated people that are the student's age and sees students as eligible romantic partners or social partners, buddies, friends, people to hang out with.
But yeah, that is criminal negligence. Literal criminal negligence. Him being like, oh, it's worked out. Okay. I liked him actually, so we can hire him back.
Oh, goodsies.
Yeah. Nope. This is how, you know, harassers and predators get to keep their jobs. It would be like, I actually...
If Aria had been afraid to say something, if she's empowered in quotes in this relationship. I say that with the loosest quotes because they try to at least write it that way, that she perceives herself as being empowered, but she's still not.
No, this scene, it's more setting up that Aria is now telling another lie.
One that could get Ezra put behind bars.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yep.
Girl can dream. Why would Shauna set Emily up to meet Missy Franklin?
Yeah, Shauna's getting awfully close, isn't she? Even that continues on to the next episode. It's like, oh no. Oh no. We're really going to do this? Is Shauna just trying to get Paige jealous? I don't know. I don't like it. There's a love triangle forthcoming and miscommunications forthcoming. Especially since
you think there'll be a love triangle with Emily, Paige, and Shauna. Okay. All right.
Well, that's where it seems to be going, especially with next episode, where I think it's Hannah is just like, knock it off. Don't text like your like girlfriend's ex.
Yeah.
So that's just where I think it's going. But obviously from your laugh, that makes it seem like it's not going there.
I cannot remember.
Okay then.
And not in like the I can't remember and I'm lying and like the I don't remember. I know where Shauna's plot line goes, and you could not, once again, throwing darts and terms at a board, you couldn't guess it.
Okay.
Her storyline, Ren's final storyline. There's a handful of storylines that you'd be like,
good God.
Huh. All right. Weird. Final, last but not least, one word review of the mobile A Lair. I know I limited you.
Yeah, no, but amazing. But I'm trying to think of something better because it is.
It's ridiculous.
Um, uh,
You can use more than one if you need to.
Functional, versatile. This is a way to fix all of their issues they probably had, like having to like go around to a specific place. They can just drive around.
So
I think it's so much fun.
What you're doing right now is you're doing what people do in interviews for sales when they're like, okay, sell me this pen.
Oh.
And I love it.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, sell me the mobile A Lair.
Uh-huh.
You're like, it's versatile.
It's so good. It fixes all their issues. But it's such a funny wrinkle that like A now is just like gonna be like in a dumpy Winnebago outside of like down the street of their house or something.
A's like, yeah, I left seedy motels for
I'm tired of having to find new motels to hang up pictures. And now I can just do it inside.
I keep losing my thumbtacks.
Exactly.
Last time, Toby left a bunch of scraps on the wall, and Spencer didn't even bother to look at them.
I know, and all the corners are torn off. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm losing my pictures.
Exactly.
Gotta buy a new printer.
Mm-hmm.
That was my final question for you on this episode.
Perfect. This will actually carry into next time. But just that my thought of Spencer going into Radley on purpose really does not seem to be the case. She just happens to stumble into it. And that she really, her agency is not there that I thought it was.
I see.
All right. Episode 70, season 3, episode 23. I'm Your Puppet. Open on Radley and it's raining. Spencer gets a visit from the other 3 friends. They spoke with her mom and say she'll be released soon. And Spencer says she still thinks she's like, oh, my mom still thinks that and that being home will make me feel better. Hannah tells her the police found a body and the other friends are mad at Hannah for like telling Spencer about it. And Hannah's like, the sooner we tell her, the sooner she's like out of here. They tell her the police thinks that it was just a camper. And Spencer says it's Toby and won't believe the friends that it's not. Spencer says, I need more time here. And Hannah chews her out over her wanting to stay here. Spencer says, I feel safe here and goes back to her room. In her room, Spencer fluffs her pillow and like kind of like reaches inside it. As the nurse asks if she wants to say goodbye to her friends, and she says, already did. Hannah and Emily argue, and Hannah is focused on like they're arguing one about like her being messy at the house, but 2 also just not like be like worrying enough about Spencer. Hannah's like, I'm focused on Wilden potentially stalking me, and Emily says he's not A, and if he's looking for his car, and he's like, he's not A if he's looking for his car, so focus on Spencer instead. Pam comes in as Hannah leaves the room, and Pam's like, I know, it's hard seeing Spencer suffer, and Emily says the doctors aren't helping her, and she still believes it's Toby. Can you let me know when the police know more about the body? And Pam's like, if it'll help you move on from this, I guess I could tell you things.
If our neighbor's dead.
Right, what the fuck? Aria and Fitz are...
You know, for a Catholic, Pam's a horrible neighbor.
Really is. I'm sure there are lots of people out here that like, our Catholic neighbors suck.
Having grown up in a Catholic family, let me tell you.
Aria and Fitz are out to eat, and she says, we shouldn't be out and about. What if the principal sees us? And Fitz is like, it's okay. We're not moving backwards. We're staying, like, our relationship needs to be public. He gets a call from Maggie, and he agrees to pick up Malcolm, but it happens to be at the same time that he's going to have a second interview.
At 7 p.m. Ezra only gets interviews for jobs.
Dinners.
Like, at nighttime.
Uh-huh. He also intimates to Aria that Maggie is still mad at Aria over Malcolm hurting himself, but he'd be so happy if like Aria could pick him up, and Aria agrees. Caleb tells Hannah that his dad wants to take them out to dinner. Tells her that she's the reason he gets to stick around in his life, and I'm so happy for that, and they kiss. Ella rounds the corner and looks at them weird. We find out more in a bit on that, but it was a very funny look. Aria and Emily are talking at school, and Emily gets a text from Shauna, and Aria tells her to stop talking to her while Paige is out of town before things get involved. So I was wrong. It was Aria. Hannah joins them, and Emily says we should go to the morgue and prove the body's not Toby. Lamb brings Spencer a game as Wren comes in, saying, I didn't know you were here, Spencer. I'm so sorry. He tells Eddie to go follow up with a patient, and Eddie seems very annoyed at him. Wren asks if he did anything to do this, and that Mona was obsessed with this game, and that Eddie would play with her all the time when she first got here.
Which then Eddie tells us Ren, right? Played that game with her.
I think later. Yeah.
I really love the kind of like fight we have going between these two men that we have no idea what the fuck it's about.
They're just like both quietly angry at each other. Ella asks Hannah if there's a way she can reach Ashley, and Hannah's like, wait, what's going on? Ella says, I'm on the church restoration committee, and Jamie removed the bronze bell, but brought back one, like while we were doing the renovations, but brought back one that was of much lesser value, and the difference between them is around $8,000. She tells Hannah not to tell Caleb.
Don't churches not pay taxes?
Yeah. She tells Hannah not to tell Caleb, but to have Ashley call her. Spencer looks at the game and finds pen writing on the board that maps to Radley. She follows the board's instructions to a window with a lock on it and notices that the lock, which is supposed to be like screwed into the wall, the hinges, are broken, and she opens up the window. Hannah and Caleb are out to dinner with Jamie. He gives Hannah a gift, and she opens it to find some nice angel jewelry. Jamie gets a call from Pastor Ted and walks away from the table to talk to him. Veronica brought Spencer clothes to try on and is trying to get Spencer to try on some clothes so she'll want to leave Radley, and Spencer tells her she's not ready. Veronica asks what happened with her and Toby and demands a real answer. The last time I saw someone holding on to a secret this badly was Allison. Was so taken aback by this. Flashback. Veronica is in in their downstairs kitchen at night as Allison walks into the Hastings house. She asks where you were. I thought you were asleep in Spencer's room, and asks how Allison hurt her face as she has like a bruise on it. Allie says she had to go back home and you can't tell anyone about this. Allie cries as Veronica gets her ice and asks if she had a fight with someone. Allison says, don't tell my parents. It'll make it worse. Please don't say anything. Veronica hugs her, and then Allison changes her mood and says, sorry, I'm being overly sensitive. I'm fine, and goes upstairs. In the present, Spencer says, you never told the police, and Veronica says, of course I told the police, but I think Jason would have, but at the time I thought Jason would have done it, but I don't think that anymore, and so I'm like wondering about like others, and like who like might have done this to her. Is Toby not the person we thought he was? Jamie comes back to the table and says, sorry, I have to hit the road. There's a problem with work I have to deal with, and it seems like the wrong bell got brought to the tower. I gotta go to the foundry to sort this out, and goes and leaves. Back in her room, Spencer pulls out the game board and traces another trail. The other three friends, though, are back in their Candace Striper uniforms in the morgue. And
nothing says a good time like putting on your red and white striped outfit and going to look at some dead bodies.
Black cat suits are so a thing of the past. If you're going to be breaking into places, get those Candy Striper uniforms. And Hannah is texting texting Caleb about the bell. And Hannah and Aria discuss how you would sell a stolen bell. How would you even do that? Do you have to melt it down? Emily leads the charge to look at the bodies, and Hannah follows in after her as Aria watches the hallway. Hannah comes to terms with her mortality looking at the bodies. Like something along the lines of just like, damn, 1 minute you're like shopping and then the next minute you're here.
No, it's like how you like 1 minute you're doing crunches and you're skipping the extra dessert, and like you're watching what you eat so that you can be like beautiful, and then you're in a body bag.
So it's like not worth it. Hannah wonders if it's Toby in there, but she couldn't handle looking at his face, so like let's just look for something else. And I'm like, no. Emily says it's not Toby and starts to open the bag. All right, outside on watch, hears the elevator doors open and sees in like it's like one of the corner like hallway mirrors that a person in a red coat gets out of the elevator. She goes to see who it is, but the person gets back in the elevator and the door closes before Aria arrives. Emily opens up the body bag and sees the body wearing an Allison mask. She removes it and sees a total stranger, and they run out. Eddie visits Spencer. Spencer asks who played the game with Mona. And Ren said she was obsessed with it. And Eddie's like, well, he would know. He played it with her. Spencer asks what's the issue between them. Was he the one who had trouble with the visitor passes? Eddie says, trust your gut. Mine told me the minute he got here it wasn't for the right reasons. He leaves, and Spencer pockets the pill he gave her into her pillowcase. She's got a suitcase.
Where's it go? Where's she going?
Nowhere. Caleb goes to talk to Anna at school. He asks if she's seen his messages. He's like, there was a mix-up at the foundry, and they have no record of the other bell. Caleb's mad that the church is just accusing my dad of stealing. Hannah stays silent, and Caleb wonders why she's so quiet. Hannah always has something to say. Hannah says, I don't think your dad has changed as much as you think he has, and tells Caleb about the stealing cash. Aria arrives at karate to pick up Malcolm. The instructor is like, oh, he was picked up 10 minutes ago by a friend, Aria Montgomery. Aria sees in Malcolm's cubby the carnival poster with the letter A circled that we saw on A's computer last week. Cut to a puppet show with Malcolm watching in the crowd with a bunch of other people, and a gloved hand that we see off screen reaches over and takes popcorn out of the container that Malcolm's holding. Aria looks around the carnival and runs into her mom and her mom tries to have a heart-to-heart with her about like the Malcolm and Fitz situation, and like, maybe you don't need to be in this relationship. It's okay. And Aria's like, yeah, I'm trying to find the kid. She doesn't say that, but is like trying to end the conversation as quickly as possible. Aria sees Malcolm with a stranger and goes to run after him, but can't catch up with him. Ren approaches the nurse's desk, and Eddie is going to bring Spencer a book. And Ren says she needs her rest. I'll give it to her tomorrow. He's like, we're not gonna have a problem again, are we, Eddie? Aria looks around the carnival for Malcolm, but finds the wrong kid. Hannah and Caleb discuss Jamie, and Caleb says he still hasn't heard anything back from him. Jamie comes in saying he's been making phone calls, and Caleb says, trying to help you with your story. Like, I know you're just trying to help yourself with your story, and this isn't the first time you've stolen money. Jamie asks where this is coming from, and Caleb just continues to lay into him about like stealing and then his lonely childhood and all those sort of thing. And Jamie says, like, Mo, when you put it like that, I wouldn't believe my story either, and leaves. Aria talks to Emily on the phone. Emily tells her to go make a police report, and we can do it together. To like find Malcolm. They hang up, and Aria notices a sign for the puppet theater. She enters inside to find Malcolm sitting alone. He's like, the man outside said there would be another show. Aria says, you know, it's supposed to pick you up. And he's like, yes, but your friend picked me up. She said her name was Allison. Aria gets him to leave, and we see the puppet move its arm.
Waves by.
Uh-huh.
Not terrifying at all.
No, not at all. Kids and puppets.
And like marionette.
Yeah. Totally fine. Emily's at the police station.
You know, I know you love children and dolls.
Yeah, it's not scary at all. Emily's at the police station. She gets a text from Aria saying Malcolm's okay. Pam sees her and is mad that she's here and tells her to go home. Emily asks what's going on and sees her with a box for labeled missing persons. Pam says, go home, I'll call you later. Spencer leaves her room and follows the instructions from the board down the hallway. She hears singing coming from the old nursery room. She sees Allie. Now this is Spencer's turn for a visitation. Sitting on the ground looking at a Dionne Warwick vinyl, a Twitter hero. She puts it on and gets Spencer to dance with her, and Spencer asks if Toby gave Allison the bloody lip. Allison says girls fight much dirtier than boys. Luckily, she didn't leave a scar. Allison tries to get her to dance again, and Spencer says, I haven't slept in 3 days. Like, I can't. I'm looking for the star off the game board. Allison says, oh, it's in there. Spencer looks around and sees a rocking horse with a star on it. The head comes off, and Spencer finds Mona's nurse uniform hidden inside, along with a visitor's badge for C.C. Drake. Ren breaks the spell and asks Spencer what she's doing. Aria sits at dinner, watching Fitz talk on the phone. Talk on the phone outside. He comes back in and says, you're Malcolm's hero. He said something about puppets and went right to sleep. Said he had a great time, though. Aria says, I can't do this anymore. Sooner or later, someone will get hurt. She goes to leave, and he says, I promise things will look different in the morning. Like, don't worry about this. But Aria looks even sadder. Spencer asks him, Ren, how many times Ceces visited her. Ren says, I wouldn't know. And she said, yes, you do. You authorized it. He says, I almost got canned for it because she was on lockdown at the time. He broke the rules for her because Ceces called him and said she was desperate to see her to help heal the psychic wound from Allison. Turns out Ceces got kicked out of college because of a stunt Allison pulled at a frat party. Ceces thought that she could be a role model for Mona. And she knew Mona was in Radley because Melissa called her. Pam comes home and asks Emily if Hannah's home. Emily says she's with Caleb, but what was going on tonight? Pam says, I'll tell you, but you can't tell your friends, and takes Emily's phone. Not like Emily can't tell her later.
But she just holds it while they talk.
Police found another body of a young man, late teens, early 20s, no ID. They don't know who it is because there was significant damage done to the body. They should know more tomorrow morning. In the finale episode. Perfect timing. Hannah and Caleb sit outside as the carnival shuts down. Caleb feels stupid for getting involved with his dad and getting excited for future road trips with him. We're going to ride our motorcycles across the country. Hannah promises to take a trip with him, and he's like, I'd be so happy to do that with someone who cares about me. And they kiss. Caleb goes inside to get more drinks for them as Hannah gets a text. Says from A that says, "Hear that? It's the sound of your mistake. When you want the bell back, give me a ring." Caleb comes back outside and sees the text over her shoulder. Hannah shows Aria the text, and Caleb says Caleb went to find Jamie. Emily comes in and tells the friends about the police finding the body where Spencer said it was, and they found her purse close by. Spencer sits in her room and looks at the pills in her pillowcase. She pulls out a black hoodie from inside the pillowcase with tickets to the carnival. We see a nurse wheel in a body to the morgue, and the camera pans, and we see under the blanket, or under part of it, because it's just like a covering on it, that part of it is showing the 901 tattoo. The end.
Okay.
I'm going to try and mess with the blinds real quick. It's kind of the same. All right. Drum roll, please.
Why did A fuck with Jamie?
Oh, to get at Hannah. That's an easy one.
And Caleb?
Yeah, that's an easy one right there.
Because her techno boy toy was still involved.
Right, and she's like, oh, of course they're gonna jump on the absentee father. Fair enough. So it's this is an easy one to rely on to really mess. But but I think also you kind of mentioned, we were talking about it, it's just what do you do with a stolen bell? How did you steal it?
Who wouldn't have noticed?
Right.
Where did he take it?
I think right.
And that's why they had to put that scene of Hannah and Aria being do you melt it down?
Right, to try and be they had this discussion in the writer's room, and they're like, oh, I don't. Okay.
Also, imagine, so you saw whoever was in the red coat, right? They looked like a petite woman in a red coat with heels.
Right.
Were they dragging this giant fucking bell across a dirt road?
Yeah.
Was Toby using it? If so, he doesn't have his truck, so were they putting it in the back of the Winnebago?
My assumption is that they
shown a scene of the
Winnebago, and there's a big bell and a thing being brought behind. My assumption is they paid the foundry off, and the foundry put it somewhere.
Ooh. I love how involved you're getting with this, that they're willing to bring other people into their boss babe schemes.
They've done it before. There's
No, I know, the people at the shops and stuff.
Yeah.
Why are there clues on the game board? Why did Mona do that?
Because they had to communicate. Someone, I think, communicated to Mona how to get in and out of there. And I think that's where the Toby part comes in, of knowing Radley. It's oh, you can go here, you can go there.
So you think Toby wrote on the board?
Yeah.
You think Toby made the map for Mona?
Mm-hmm. Because that was potentially a way maybe for him to see his mom.
Okay.
That's new emotional things I'm putting on here. To have a clue to pass off. Or if it was Ren doing that for Mona, could it also be another possibility of assisting.
So who played the game with Mona?
Right. I think Ren played the game with Mona. And so he passed the board to her. Yeah. I think Eddie's the one telling the truth. Not Ren. Because I don't trust Ren ever.
You shouldn't. He's a creep.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ren.
And he's mean to Eddie. He's pulling rank on him. And I didn't like that at all.
Also, Ren's got to be, 24?
Right? And he's pulling, and Eddie seems 30.
And a good nurse.
Uh-huh. And then he's no, I'm a
doctor.
I'm Doogie Howser. Coming in here telling you what to do, even though I just graduated. Swiss Army doctor. You can put him anywhere and he'll help the patients.
Okay. Continuing with the Ren conversation,
okay.
Is Ren telling the truth about Ceces being there? Why he let Ceces in?
No. I think it's more coordinated, because if he's also helping Mona get in and out, then he would also be assisting with Ceces being able to see her.
Okay.
is that maybe an explanation for the blonde in the red coat that we saw at the end of last season? Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Spencer sees Allison, is she seeing Allison or is it another hallucination?
That's another hallucination. This one's way more apparent too, because Ren comes in.
And Spencer's like, I haven't slept in.
Right. Also says I haven't slept in 3 days and things like that. There's no magical happenings of like
the door's open.
Exactly. The only one is check the horse in this case, but nothing gets physically moved like Emily.
Or like the doll with Aria.
Aria, right. So that one seems way more apparent that it is just a hallucination.
Why would Spencer's mom
Bugging me.
Why would Spencer's mom bring a blouse to take her home?
I know. She's just like, don't you want to play dress up, Spencer? My daughter is in obvious distress.
What?
But it's very funny. And it's like all these blouses and
blazers.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Who hit Allison the night Spencer's mom saw her?
Because she does. I think because we should suspend some disbelief, and the writers are trying to like point us in a certain direction that it was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been Melissa. I could see that. Melissa seems to have a very cantankerous relationship and angry relationship with Allison. Mm-hmm. So I can see that Melissa would have gone after her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even though we get the Ren saying that Ceces was there for Mona to help her fix the mental damage from Allison, I still think that group and Ceces are more aligned with Allison than not.
Are lawyers not mandated reporters? I don't know. I would think they would be mandated
I would think
reporters. So like
a
child being hit in their home would probably result in
that they should
but I guess they explained that by her saying I didn't want to dig this up with Jason because I thought it was Jason.
Right. Veronica's flashback here caught me so by surprise. Veronica would be the last person I would think there would have any connection here. And it was just like, yeah, it was just a random night where she came in with a bloody lip.
Mm-hmm.
But she did tell the police.
She did tell the police.
But I guess that would have been after she would have disappeared, right?
That she would have told the police?
Yeah. Yeah. So like to your point, it wasn't like, oh, I think something bad is happening.
Uh-huh. What pill is Spencer not taking?
Yeah.
What are they giving her?
I think, is she worried is that it's a sedative?
Or does she think that
they're trying to like poison her or something?
Yeah, either that like she's saving them for her A business.
Right. Or do we think it's the pills that Mona was trafficking out of there, but they don't look the same?
Or is she, I'm not actually unwell and I don't want to take these, or I don't want to get better, in quotes, because it will hinder me solving this case.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot of ways to read that.
Yeah.
And that's not really how medication for mental health
Right.
works, but that's neither here nor there in the world of Pretty Little Liars.
I think you could probably read it as the like, I need to focus right now. I don't need pills changing my brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's like similar to like how they depict drug use in Queen's Gambit, where it's like, oh, I can't play chess without the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of that, it's like my brain doesn't work right. But yeah.
How did Spencer get the black hoodie in her pillowcase?
That was such a reveal. I was like so surprised by that. It's so good. It's that because we've seen her like the entire episode just like adding pills and stuff in there, like and putting things, and then inside is a black hoodie. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And the carnival must be going on for multiple days. I thought it would just be one night.
Or is it not in timeline order?
Oh, right. I remember us talking about this. It could be that she's going out that night to meet at the carnival. I would think... I don't know. Did Toby put it there? Is Toby like, I want you on my side?
I want you on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Who was in the red coat in the morgue?
And they especially only seem to be there to like.
They put the mask on the body.
No, but I guess before they got there, but the red coat, the elevator comes down, the elevator doors open, they step out and then get back in. So it seems like they're only there to like be like, okay, just to freak them out a little bit.
See and be seen.
Right. I don't know. It could. I assume that is a wig and glasses and everything. I don't know.
Okay.
It could have been Mona, Ceces, or even Toby.
I don't think it's Toby. I think they're wearing heels.
I don't know. Toby could be wearing heels.
I think Aria would have been able to identify Toby's legs.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess
didn't we see their legs?
Maybe.
I don't remember. Why did A steal Malcolm? And specifically who?
For some reason, this one was like, oh, that must be Toby with him. I don't know why.
Even though
it was Allison.
Aria.
So then I was so shocked
Yeah.
later when it was like, oh, your friend Allison like picked me up. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe.
Well, and whoever
maybe
picked
it was
him
like
up,
Cece or Mona.
whoever picked him up said they were Aria Montgomery.
Right, but I meant when he for whatever reason it didn't click with me until later that it was probably a woman or a girl. My money would probably be on Mona or Cece. Going off of my conception of these things, and Ceces is not in town, so I guess that frees Ceces up to be more involved with this kind of stuff, unless Cece's really trying to lay low. But that doesn't seem like the A's vibe when they like put on their hoodies and things and go out and do trouble.
It also seems like Malcolm had a great time.
Yeah, Malcolm did have a good time. Malcolm was not in any danger at all.
And Malcolm
it was just to
really loves creepy dolls, and I feel like maybe they should take him to some sort of like child psychologist.
I don't know,
creepy marionette dolls.
Yeah, I don't. Let the kids like what they like. We need our. I honestly like that type of thing. Is like, yeah, this kid might be a goth or something in his future.
You know what I see? I see emo in the cards.
Flip this tarot.
And then so after that, then we get Aria going, Ezra, I can't do this, and Ezra goes, you'll feel better.
Sleep on it. The responsibilities of being a parent, but I like that Aria. It's funny that I don't know, like it might be is a strong word, but that Aria's final realization is like, oh, I'm putting Malcolm in danger. And not like that. It's just like, I don't want to be a mother.
Yeah, I'm a child. I don't want a child.
I don't want to have to do this. So Ellen Byron literally needed to do nothing to do this. It's only going to backfire. Yeah. He's
not a mother. She's just a glorified babysitter.
Yeah. And he doesn't help her and throws her under the bus. Maggie's still a little tiffed at you, but like, I'm sure that like it'll end up all right. I would love for you to watch Malcolm. You need to be in lockstep.
Yeah.
You throwing her under the bus. And I understand what it is to be a 24-year-old dude. And you still have ways to go, but come on. Gotta step up.
The prefrontal cortex is almost developed.
Right.
And
yet so far.
You had unprotected sex.
Mm-mm.
Use a condom, friends.
Yeah.
Emily, sex
Malcolm.
Unless he was the 0.0 whatever percent.
Yeah. Makes you think.
Is Toby dead?
No.
Why? We saw the tattoo on the new body.
Yes. Toby's alive. It's to make us think he's dead. I think Toby is 100% alive and doing shit. We were just being thrown off. What happened to his family? Where did his family go?
Where did his family go?
Isn't that interesting? I have no idea. I honestly have no idea of like what that is involved with. But all that movement happening with like them being unavailable and Toby like disappearing, I think means that he's actually alive, and we are just under a big complex narrative happening right now that is protecting his identity from being alive and being able, he can move around and be A for whatever reason, is my best guess.
Cool. What do we think's going to happen now that Spencer's on the A team? I mean, she's got the black hoodie. So.
I know. We're going to learn way less than we would hope, but I think Spencer is going to be caught compromised by the friends potentially at the carnival wearing the black hoodie, and it's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you would betray us like this. And she's like, you don't understand, and runs off. So I think she's going to go do something for the A team and get compromised along the way. Not like as like involved as she like hopes she's going to be.
All right. Okay. You ready to?
And that's in next episode, we assume.
Want to give us your theories then?
Yeah. Let's get a little theory corner check-in before the finale. All right. Let us step into... Theory corner. Welcome, everybody. Brenton, Theory Corner.
Who are you?
I'm not Nerb, and today we'll be talking about theories. Okay, so I'm going to start off with going back to Wilden, because this is a point that I don't want to forget. That Wilden doesn't... I think this feeds more into my theory of Wilden is being blackmailed, and that he would have gone to the police if the A team who's blackmailing him hadn't put something in the trunk of his car that would compromise him. So he wants to get the car back, and the A team is like, you don't go or tell on Ashley or Hannah, even though I'm sure you'd love to, about this, or else like we will reveal probably that you had some sort of... I wonder if the photos were maybe in the back of his car or something like that. Like something connecting him to Allison. And it's like, we will release that information and completely tank you. So I think that's what's happening with him right now. And the A team being like probably Ceces, I would think, because of the... And I think we get more of that in a apparent connection with her going to visit Mona. And then on top of that, Toby and Mona. And I think that's the connections there. I think Melissa, again, her connection being to the NAT club puts her as a patsy and against them. Because I think they are, I think kind of Mona's actions that I talked about would lead one to believe that they're trying to feed the information to the friends to go after NAT club and things. And also just, being mean to them in general. I still think they are connected to Allison in some way as more like allies almost from beyond the grave. If not completely co-signing the way she would behave to them, but I think there's more of an alliance there toward the NAT club people and actions there than we are led to believe at the moment.
Okay.
And so I think Mona needs Spencer to get closer to Melissa, and possibly that Toby would like her involved, because I think Toby still has feelings.
He wants his girlfriend back.
Yeah. And so that's...
If he's not dead.
Exactly. And so he's not dead. And that's why Spencer is, or Mona is trying to recruit Spencer. So that's why I think, So that's why I think they're like reaching out to Spencer, is to get her access to Melissa. Also, use her as a setup patsy that would drive the entire friend group into chaos by having Spencer do stuff. She's the weak link, the emotional one.
Is she the weak link?
That's what we think at the moment. That's what they think. And I like Spencer donning a black hoodie, by the way. I think this is a great choice. I think Dark Spencer is great. And so, where was it going with that? Melissa has done something against them more than we know.
Crimes against humanity, honestly.
Exactly. Really harassing people. And it seems, and like her connections with everybody obviously is way more than we know, because we get all these little details in the background. And so to what extent is her involvement with all these people's lives, and how close was she to Allison? It seems pretty close. And it seems at least her and Ceces were good friends. So what is that situation between them two, and why are they not as close anymore?
Mm-hmm.
More
Are
to
they
follow.
not as close anymore?
It doesn't seem like it because we don't. I don't know. It could be happening in the background. Yeah, I don't think they're as close anymore because of the way Ceces is drip feeding information about Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Melissa might think they're still close, but I don't think so. And that because Melissa would not want that information out. She would not want her sister knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ren, I think, is another blackmailer. Being blackmailed, I should say. Not blackmailing other people.
I was like, you think Baby Boy's got the upper hand?
No, I think he's being told to like go do this, go do that, go get inside Radley, go help Mona. I think the coordination there is forcing Ren to do things for this. I think it's easy to, it's a nice framework to go back to, is that the women in this show are the active ones, the more terrible ones, much like Allison says, women fight dirtier than the men on the show.
Muscle and pawns.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's weirdly feminist.
It isn't?
Uh-huh. No, it's backwards.
Uh-huh.
It's like it tried.
Right. Because it's like women can do anything, but it's also feeding into that same idea of like, but women are fight dirty.
Yeah, women fight dirty. Women are mean.
Right.
Women are catty.
Which women can be mean. Women can be catty, but also have you met guys?
Most men are a little bit more gossipy than women, I would say.
Yeah, and they can also be just as psychologically scarring. And it's a weird thing to like divide amongst gender lines, and gender is construct, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But in the context of this show, we can look at the feminine characters as the ones that are leading the charge and being the targets of harassment and harassers, where the men are merely pawns muscle, like you said. So that's why I would also discount putting any of the men as like big A. It'd be curious what happens with Jenna when she eventually returns, because we don't know what's happening with her.
Well, we had to get her off scene for a couple episodes because it's been too heavy this season.
Exactly.
And, we couldn't pay her to be a regular
star.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if that's how that worked. I don't know what I
think that's intentionally how they write it,
Uh-huh.
And then I still think that Jenna would be as part of the NAT club side, and not Big A. So who would be Big A? Very good question. Oh yeah, and Lucas being part of the A team as a contractor. We haven't seen him in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So as to who Big A is, boy, it's hard. I don't know if it'd be Mona or Ceces, or some other third party. We don't know if Shauna's involved somehow. Could potentially be that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would be Melissa just because of how much we're pointing at Melissa. But if we, I was pretty sold on that earlier in earlier seasons, and maybe I'm overcomplicating things, and the shortest distance between 2 points. So. But we'll see. I don't think we are not getting any big A revelations, but I think next episode we are going to be getting more A team revelations, and we'll find out the status of Toby.
I do believe we will get some Tobias confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you that one.
Oh yeah, but I was wrong about Toby's funeral happening this.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a flyer. Which never gets brought up this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But
yes. Yeah. I think I remembered liking the next episode. The finale for this one's good. But
yeah. I think that is it for Theory Corner then.
All right.
Well, thank you all so much for coming, and can't wait to see you next week. Goodbye.
Final thoughts. Any final thoughts? Head empty, no thoughts?
Yeah, I left it all out on the court, all out on the field. Got nothing more.
All on the dance floor?
That's right. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say.
Well then.
excited for next episode.
I know, I'm very excited. I think this is a good one. And I think this is one where we get nuggets that lead to more theories.
Love it.
At least I believe
the
they
wheels
turn
turn.
me. Yeah, the wheels start turning and they don't stop turning.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I could have written All-Star, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Smash Mouth could have not written your book.
No, or watched Pretty Little Liars with the same
Gusto.
dedication that
Yeah.
I do.
Mhm.
I actually, that could be slanderous. I have no idea. The men of
They
Smash
will.
Mouth may love Pretty Little Liars, and I feel bad for assuming they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Fair.
If you know them, let me know.
Yeah, we're sorry.
Yeah, I didn't mean to slander. I take it back. Any plugs for you? I got no plugs.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just give for this podcast, you can find us on YouTube at dead_ends. You can also find it on all your audio podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. We would love any subscriptions, reviews. We're a small podcast, so it all helps.
Leave nice things. It helps us
Yeah.
get bigger.
Share the podcast with friends and family this Christmas or holidays, whatever you're celebrating.
Yeah. Or just whenever.
Yeah.
Don't have to wait for the holidays.
Fair enough. You can also follow us on Twitter if you are so inclined, where we just post episode updates,
God
scheduling, and
bless
things like that
mess.
at Dead Ends Podcast. And you can send us an email, just questions on the show or questions in general, to deadendspcast@gmail.com. And that is listed in the description for the podcast episode, and you can email it there.
All right.
Cool. So one more time before the season finale, we're still here. We're going to find out everything.
You're going to leave this next episode with more questions and answers, baby.
I am sure that's what season finales do, you know?
At least you don't have to wait 3 to 6 months.
Exactly. We just give it another week and I'm ready.